The hermit can be seen as Moses standing on Mount Sinai. He stays there for 40 days receiving the Torah and 10 commandments from God. He is depicted with the golden staff, which represents the letter Yod and the Sephirah Yesod. Metaphorically, the hermit's staff symbolizes the male phallus, indicating that something new is being created. The Hebrew letter assigned to the hermit card is Yod, which has a numerical value of 10. Yod is a fiery flame, and it means hand Yad. Moses saw God's hand or finger as a fiery flame as it forged the new law and the 10 commandments into the tablets. Assigned to the Roman numeral 9, the hermit encompasses attributes of the 9th Sephirah Yesod, which is ruled by the moon. The word Sinai references Sin, who was the Mesopotamian deity of the moon. Therefore, Mount Sinai translates as the mountain of the moon. Yesod acts as a channel or funnel from the upper worlds down into Malchut, the material realm, just as Moses was the channel for the Torah and the 10 commandments, which he received from the hand of God and then delivered the new law to his people. Yesod makes sure that the light and life force is delivered to the proper destination. This energy vibe is about creating something new that no one has seen before. Often, it takes time for people to see the light, so to speak, even though such things will help improve their lives. Sometimes people are simply not ready to change their ways. All the 9 cards contain a secret hiding in plain sight. The hermit card's secret is that there's a dark negative shadow casted on the backside of the hermit's body. The hermit's shadow has a face that appears grumpy, angry, negative, and judgmental. This negative shadow represents the hermit's ego, his adversary. This adversary is the voice in the back of the hermit's head, telling him to give up on the people he is helping. The adversary sits with his arms crossed and nose in the air, losing his patience with the hermit, all the while complaining, doubting, and being pessimistic. The hermit struggles to keep this bitter voice out of his head. The adversary attempts to make the hermit feel as if he is working towards a lost cause, and that his people aren't worth it, and as though they don't value him, make him feel seen, or acknowledge all the good he has done for them. The adversary tells the hermit he should save himself, worry only about himself, and move on. But the hermit knows that the way to receive light is by helping others. Deep down he feels compelled to help his people, despite the fact God is forcing him to do so. The best leaders are the ones who don't want to lead. Moses tried to find excuses to get out of this responsibility. He confessed to God that he killed an Egyptian guard, but God saw that it was justified. Moses told God that he had a terrible stutter, and God suggested to Moses that his brother Aaron could speak on his behalf. Moses felt as though the Jewish people didn't respect him as one of their own, and didn't want him as their leader. In addition to this, Moses aspired to be the next Pharaoh of Egypt. But God had bigger plans for Moses. God chose Moses to be the one who would reveal the light within the darkness, ignorance, to be the channel. The hermit, like Moses, guides others to the light. He paves the way and leads by example. As the Exodus story goes, Moses comes down from the mountain with the first set of tablets to find the Jewish people idolizing a golden calf. Moses is infuriated, and he breaks the tablets on the ground. The people were obviously not ready and/or worthy to receive God's commandments. God then told Moses to give the people a second chance, to go back up to the top of Mount Sinai, where Moses would have to make a second set of tablets for the Jewish people. This story illustrates Moses' battle with his own ego, as he tries to do the right thing as a leader of the Israelite nation. For 40 years, Moses cared for the children of Israel, as a nurse carries a baby, fulfilling their every need, and representing them before God, especially when they messed up and incurred his displeasure, which happened all too often. Moses' tenure as leader was punctuated by episodes of rebellion and complaint, but he always ended up giving the Israelites a second chance. The Hebrew letter assigned to the hermit card is Yod, which is present in the beginning of all God's creation. This concept is portrayed here with the hermit, who reveals the new law and Torah to his people. This is a new and better way for them to connect to the Creator's light. Getting others to change and improve their lives is never easy. People are inherently reluctant to change. The adversary tells us not to change. The Jewish people were unable to see how Moses' new way was beneficial to them. At the time, they weren't at the right spiritual level of understanding. Therefore, Moses had to walk away and return later. Moses had to deal with his own ego, having to learn that things like this take time. He realized that he was just planting seeds, and his people would need some time for those seeds to sort of sink in and for them to be able to grasp the new information. It took 40 days for the Israelites to reach the spiritual state needed for them to merit the Torah. In a Kabbalistic sense, the timing associated with the number 40 is relative. Depending on the person and situation, it may take 40 minutes, or it could take 40 days. Nonetheless, time heals, and some things take longer than others. The number 40 encompasses the time needed for a spiritual cleansing and transformation. It took the Israelites 40 days to elevate themselves to be able to receive the Torah. Likewise, it took them 40 years to enter the Promised Land. The Hermit card is associated with the zodiac sign Virgo, who are the leaders, healers, and pathfinders. They are keen to the new and better ways of improving one's lifestyle and health. Opening people's minds to a better new way of doing something other than what they're already used to is always challenging. But that never stops a Virgo from trying. Virgos reveal new ways for healing and cleansing the body, which ideally brings us closer to God, as in the saying, cleanliness is close to godliness. Virgos are efficient in all aspects of their life and will continue to maintain, tidy up, and organize everything as they improve themselves and the world around them. Furthermore, Virgos take it upon themselves to look after others, and they seem to take other people's lives in their hands. They enlighten, heal, guide, and take others under their wing. Because of this, Virgos make great business owners, chefs, masseuses, makeup artists, nurses, doctors, judges, healers, and advisors. There just so happens to be exactly 78 yodis in the tarot, which is significant because there are exactly 78 cards in the tarot deck. Yod, meaning hand, alludes to how God has his hand in the creation of the Rider-Waite deck. There are 8 yodis in the Ace of Wands, 26 yodis in the Ace of Cups, 6 yodis in the Ace of Swords, 22 yodis in the Tower card, 15 yodis in the Moon card, and the Hermit, who is assigned to the letter Yod, acts as a personification of the final Yod. The Hermit acts as a channel for God's light. The Hermit, just like Virgo, takes people's lives in his hands and helps them learn how to help themselves. In the Jewish mystical tradition, Yod represents a mere dot, a divine point of energy. Since Yod is used to form all the other letters, and since God uses the letters as the building blocks of creation, Yod indicates God's omnipresence. Yesod, meaning foundation, can be defined as the divine attribute which binds God to his creation in a bond of empathy and love. This is why the Sephirah of Yesod is also called Saint Tzaddik in Hebrew, as in the verse a saint is the foundation of the world, Proverbs 10:25. Moses was considered a tzaddik, saint righteous one, who aroused mankind to seek God. At the same time, he draws down God's compassion and goodness into the world. Thus he is the foundation of the world. The hermit is seen standing on the mountaintop, holding a lantern that guides others up the path to enlightenment. He holds his golden staff, representing the Yesod that channels his spiritual insight. The 6-pointed star is Saturn's star and encompasses the spiritual light and understanding of Bina. He has reached enlightenment and has become a channel for the light. He is the gateway and/or bridge that creates a link which unites the astral plane with the physical world. The hermit's staff represents the Yesod, and it's comparable to the male phallus that represents the bridge between the infinite potential of procreation that flows into it, and its actual manifestation in the progeny of man. This can be understood by looking at the magic of mathematics with the number 9. When you multiply any number with 9, you always end up with the digital root number 9. This is similar to how an idea is formed in Bina, and then funnels its way down through the chute of Yesod, just before it manifests in the material world of Malchut. The 9 in this equation is comparable to the idea which holds within it a divine spark in its purest form, and yet it still exists in the manifested outcome once reduced to its seed level. For example, 9x2 equal to 18, and when reduced 1 plus 8 equal to 9. Or just how 9x6 equal to 54, and when reduced 5 plus 4 equal to 9. Or try an even larger number, such as 9x 2376 equal to 21,384, and then reduce the multi-digit number numerically by adding 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 8 plus 4 equal to 18, and then further reduce it to 1 plus 8 equal to 9. Numerology does not deal with multi-digit numbers, so you must reduce them down to a single digit. Furthermore, the multiplying of number 9 by continuous numbers will result in a pyramid formation, with numbers getting larger and larger as they fan out from the top working their way down. Magic of the number 9. The Sephirah Yesod is the bridge from infinite down into finite. It funnels down all the other Sephirot down into their manifest state. Yesod is identified in the Torah with Tzaddik, meaning righteous one, and usually associated with a righteous person, which is symbolized by the hermit. In the very body of the Tzaddik, finite and limited in time and space, God's infinite light and creative life force becomes manifest. The Tzaddik creates on the spiritual plane as well as on the physical plane. This idea can be conceptualized by the male phallic, symbolized here by the hermit's staff, and the procreation process of life force from within, manifesting in the seed or semen of man. The Tzaddik experiences creation in the inner third eye of his consciousness, in the continual flow of new insights and true innovations in his spiritual study. He creates by arousing the souls of his generation to return to the path of enlightenment and reach unity with the higher self. Whenever this card is drawn, it suggests giving others a second chance. It's easy to have our ego get the best of us, where we either do or say something we later regret, which causes a separation between us and those we care about. During these times, we may feel like giving up on people and wish to walk away, but the story of Moses teaches us the importance of being patient with ourselves, as well as with others. Know that whenever you try to help others, they may not be ready to grasp your level of understanding. When this happens, realize that you are merely planting seeds. It takes time for those seeds to sink in, and for others to comprehend their worth. Be like Moses, who walked away when others were not ready to receive what he had to show them. He was wise, and allowed time for those seeds to flourish. Just know that time heals. And after 40 days Moses returned when the time was right, and gave his people a second chance. He returned with the same spiel as before, although this time they were open and ready to listen to what he had to say. They had matured spiritually, and were ready to accept the new law into their lives. It is advised that when you butt heads with others you should learn to drop it. Just as Moses dropped the tablets on the ground, and walked away. Return when things have had time to settle down, and you've had time to figure out exactly what you want and why you want it. This may also allow time to figure out solutions to your problems. When the time is right, return and share your enlightenment. This time they will be more receptive to you. A reconciliation may require setting healthy boundaries, or new rules that will improve the relationship, so that everyone can be on the same page. The best way to change people is to lead by example. Therefore, learn to follow your own advice. Others will take notice. When they come across challenges, or when they face a problem they can't handle on their own, you'll be the one they come to asking for help. In the meantime, work on yourself and wait for an invitation to help when asked. This is when they'll be open to your suggestions and perhaps desperate for your advice. This way, you avoid becoming bitter when they don't respond the way you want them to after offering your help. If you reach out and they deny your help, or even worse, ignore you, you will be overcome with affliction. When people are not ready to be helped, it's like talking to a wall, and whatever you say will go right over their heads. People must be in need and seeking help before you try to intervene, or else you will be wasting your time and energy. Because the hermit stands on Mount Sinai, also known as Mountain of the Moon, the timing aspect related to the Hermit card can pertain to a month. It may take a person this long to return to a situation, or wish to reconcile, or try again to reason with someone, or attempt to help others who previously denied your help. In career readings, this card may suggest you go back and try again to pitch your idea, or send in your resume one more time. In relationships, it can indicate someone plans to come back into your life after having some time to reset and figure out what they want. This card insinuates that they plan to return and give you a second chance. Furthermore, this card can reflect on a disagreement between two people that has created tension, and/or a separation between them. Just know that time heals. Therefore, whenever the two eventually reconnect, they will be able to see eye to eye with one another. The Hermit card is essentially about giving second chances. Give yourself time to figure out solutions to your problems before you abandon all hope. If you have a vision that someone is unable to see, maybe it was bad timing, or they weren't in the right frame of mind to see it your way. Give them time to come around. Go back when the time is right, and they will be more approachable. Thanks for reading. Check out grantisactarot.com to sign up for tarot readings, mentorships, and to purchase my book at a discount.